Okay. That one, unmute, unmute, and then remute again. Regardless. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Sunday, June 11th, 2017. And let's get started. So last time, we made the little, box following effect in Unreal Engine, and performance seemed fine, but we want to make sure we can tune it as much as possible and find out what would contribute to the performance impact. Ideally, if we can keep it above VSync at 120 on a 1080, of course, then that would be easy to keep keep for even VR, right? And there's some things you can do, like when the camera's not able to see it, shut off the particle systems and stuff like that. Maybe even be able to do some things like use mesh particles instead of, individual physics actors. That's all in the future, and that's also probably the hardest levels of tuning is probably going to be after the stream, when we release a demo and we go back towards it and start making it an actual game. So who knows about a lot of that stuff. So we were working on it, and then we tried to, as I said, profile it to figure out what performance was like, and it wouldn't package. And it also had a problem doing some hot reloads. It would crash on hot reloads, and also crash. What was the other way? So it was hot reloads on attempting to package, and when I had a class, because that involved a hot reload. I'm wondering if potentially something may have broken the Visual Studio project. And at the same time, it was also Visual Studio 2017, which I didn't really have. Some people have some luck with. I didn't really have much luck, apparently, with. So we're going to see if going back to Visual Studio 2015 will help. As a result, we're here. And I installed 4.16.1, actually. So we're going to launch Unreal Engine 4.16. And then we're going to migrate our project over. And allow access through a firewall, because of course. Oh, and also today is the first or negative second or whatever day of E3. Negative first day of E3. Anyway, so let's just check it here. We're going to it's there. So open copy. There. It's possible it might not move over our registered maps folder. Right. It is entirely possible also that I may have broken something that prevented hot reloads. However, I have seen some other people like Michael Haller have some problems, although he forks the engine, so I don't even know what his engine's at right now. Having some problems doing packaging lately, so it's possible there might be just a bug in Unreal Engine that just happened and was probably fixed at some point, but I never actually got around to it. Love bugs, yeah. I don't know, they bug me. Mir says bugs are delicious. I'm wondering if he's somehow related to Kana Kamui from Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. And yes, allergy season. Okie dokie. We're gonna immediately shut down the editor. Because we want to bring it into Visual Studio 2015. Have I tried a Coca-Cola freestyle machine? Yep, they have one at the Wendy's. I'm gonna say down the road, but I'd end up being kind of a Nova Scotia person by saying down the road because it's really like a an hour walk. But yeah, no, I've tried one. They're really good. I usually get to Coke with lime, maybe a little lemon too. So what's your favorite flavor there, Amir? I'm assuming you've tried one if you are bringing it up. If not, then it's fine, but... Oh, I just realized I forgot to announce them streaming because I did a reboot, which means I didn't turn on Opera, which means I didn't check Twitter, which means I didn't post Twitter. And now people know that the stream exists. Okie dokie then. Yeah, I don't really do Google Plus that much. Caffeine-free Coke with either lime or vanilla. Nice. So a step's taking a long time. I am guessing... Oh, there it goes. So I'm guessing it's probably like a shader compile step or something like that. Caffeine-free Diet Coke's not fun, easy to find, yeah. I mean, personally, I'm not too big against caffeine in general. Because, I mean, like, if you look at the amount of caffeine in Coca-Cola, I mean, that's not to say it's healthy. Because sugar's gonna kill you. But, the amount of caffeine in Coca-Cola is only like twice that of decaf coffee, or like 1/5 that of, it's like 2 or 4 times decaf, but like 1/5 that of regular coffee, so there's not a lot of caffeine in there. That being said, also caffeine is non-linear, so doubling caffeine actually doesn't do the same, so it might still give a reaction depending on what you do, but yeah. Only a Threadripper can save my compile time. It would help, I guess. Assuming they mean exit the tutorial area. Just want to stop it from... Oh, you can see it. This icon there was flashing green. I guess after we're done compiling the shaders, I should check the... It's funny how many shaders there are, even though it's a PBR. Workflow. I mean, I know it doesn't mean anything, but yeah. Because it still instances the same shader, but still. Actually, that made no sense at all, because the even though the inputs are all the same, the nodes that connect to it wouldn't be. So, yeah. Disregard my stupid comment. So yeah, the EA press conference yesterday was something. Then there was a Microsoft press conference today, which is pretty good. The EA press conference just ended. I figured they're gonna have this big esports thing, and then they're gonna move on, and then it just ended. I was like, no big announcements on the way out or anything like that. No. Humbly 3 bundle, okay. Actually, while I'm waiting for this, I could probably check that out. I can't print this type today. Oh, it's the humble bundle, sure, why not? Okay, I'm guessing that's not this one. Isn't this the visual novel? Yeah, it's the visual novel stuff. Oh, the E3 digital ticket. Okay. Oh, Twitch, I'm not gonna be able to show that. Alright. Yeah. I'll check it out after then. Okay. So let's see if it loads. Yeah, it looks like it loads, no problem. There we are. Two cross streams, one versus AI. Cool. Okay. So now we're gonna get out of that, minimize that, open up a file explorer to get to a new project. So in Real Projects, check it 4.16 now. Then over here, now that we're there, let's do generate Visual Studio project files. And then this one should be able to open with, no. There we are. See if 2015 will help us a little bit. Which means I can go back and install the old plugins again for macros and stuff like that, but... So we're waiting for it to add in. Maybe I can do this right now, actually. It's not. Okay. Guess we're still loading. Okay. I really like the setup of Visual Studio 2017, but There were some times, especially when we first got it, that it just was crashy. Oh, okay, cool. I had some notifications. I want to make sure it wasn't something from work. Because with E3 going by, there's a couple of NDA things that I can't show on stream. And I want to make sure I wouldn't accidentally just pop one up, right? Even though I should have the chat software. Yeah, the chat software's offline. The chat software for the site I work for, Peace Perspective. I'm wondering why it's trying to load from Unreal Engine 4.15. As a game developer, when you know it's time to bail on a project when it's going through community testing, I don't know. Projects die for many different reasons. There was one interesting Avengers game that was being developed from 2K that was canceled even though it was doing really, really well, just because it was done by an Australian studio and the Australian dollar rose. So 2K just was like, well, this studio cost us more, down. And that was it. Okay, so it looks like it's done. So this is looking kind of sad. Let's try this again. Huh. Says my solution's not loaded. I can't build. Let's do switching real versions, 4.16, good. Generating project files. This is very confusing. Oh. I thought I already had that. Okay, let's try this again. So we're going to be doing a bit of updating on Visual Studio apparently. Which sucks because I hope it doesn't actually require me to reboot. If that's the case, you'll see two video files for the stream, part A and a part B, or whatever. Well, that makes sense why it didn't work, because I didn't have, somehow didn't have C++ enabled in Visual Studio 2015. I guess I did install it for Unity, so I may have forgot to put it in. I might have been like, ah, whatever, you install C#. Huh. Thought I did C++, in just in case. Hey everyone, welcome to the chat. Riveting. App certification kit. Yeah, thanks for that. And I'm totally gonna release Unreal Engine 4 projects on Windows Store. Welcome to the Windows way. Loading bar, loading bar, loading bar, reboot. Looks like it's fine now. Still parsing. Okay. Your computer received a Visual Studio update when rebooting in 3 seconds. Yeah. Pretty much. What a productive half hour this has been. Hey, welcome to the chat. It's a very different for indie teams as for company 2K, yeah. So after the stream here, later on tonight, there will be the Bethesda press conference. Probably run after an hour after we stop. Alright, looks like it's good. Now we should be able to build and enter the project. And then we will see whether I gotta actually apparently deal with this apparently. I'll do that at some point. Now we'll try to package a version of the game and see if it works. If it does, awesome. If not, then we get a problem. So it's gonna be this button I'm gonna press, but I'll be on here for that because it'll show my file system, even though I've already shown it on stream several times. New folder. Actually, it's funny, they're using a different folder structure now. Used to be that thin one where you had to click it, and then when you click on make a new folder, it won't let you click a folder, you have to click off and click back on. But now it's a different Pathfinder. Okie dokie. Failed still. Why'd you fail? Unknown error. Awesome. Once I get to checkit.cpp, let's see if there's something that messed up in checkit.cpp. Oh, that could just be afterwards. What? Hey, it's me, Henrik. Right now we're trying to find out why... Oh. Okay, this is a problem. If that's our problem, that would definitely be an issue. I don't know why I failed here, but not, or there, but not here, but whatever. Let's try doing a package project again, and again, it's gonna be that one here, so let's go up here, grab you, select the folder. Now let's see if this works. If that was a problem, that would make sense, because that was... You know, we didn't really add much C++, but we did add a new class, and that was when things started going sour. However, things went sour a bit before that, too, like when we were actually adding it. So I was figuring it might have been just something that was there, but could have been two issues. Although why it, again, lets me build it but not packages. Confusing. Okay, so it's linking now, so that's further than it's been. Actually, for that matter, I should go package settings. Full rebuild development. Okay, good. Which is very similar to shipping, except that it allows you to use console and stuff like that. Well, we solved the problem at least, so. Another question is where we're gonna have a second problem. So when we package it, we're then gonna go look in the editor and see what the performance is like. We're gonna look in the finished game and see what the performance is like when we're looking at the waterfall spawner. Because we basically need to not quite quadruple it, because the two of them are a bit smaller than the one we did it on, so like 3.8 times the amount of particles. Although we will also be able to shut off some of them if we get too close, or we get too far away. But that'll be optimization for later. If we can disable simulation, then, I mean, that's a free amount of performance, right? Secondly, Windows again. And we're back. M glass, M statue glass. Let's actually see if we can find a better song. There's Deep in Night, but I don't really want to play that. Oh, this one, right? Yeah. That's why this one, sure, why not? I'm gonna have to go and check and see through all these songs and see if there's anyone that Monster Cat has a problem with, because I found their list of non-licensable songs again disappeared, so I thought they just didn't have the problem anymore, but apparently not. Which might explain some of the copyright claims out of my video. There we are. Now we can open up here. Package targets 416. But it's not actually. If we go back here, we have to copy over registered math folder. Package targets. Okay, then we're going to close the editor down. We didn't need to close it entirely down, but why not? Now let's see how fast it will go. Okay, move my webcam off the side, do stat units, stat FPS. So I'm up to almost 1,000 frames per second. That's good for a menu. I'd hope so. Go cross streams, 1 versus AI, and launch with Alice. And we'll allow network access because I have 140 some FPS on a GTX 1080. See if the performance is gonna dip when I go over here. Also, I'm getting around 130, 140 FPS. I'm gonna change the spawn rate on this, of course, but yeah. I want to be a bit more continuous and bursty, so I'm going to be changing, like I said, the spawn rate a little bit, but well, the reset rates, so I'll make them fall a bit slower, or a bit less time, I mean. Which means you'll see some pop out, but that's okay. Or I could also just drop down the, or crank up the randomization and the respawn time. Depends on the volume I want to have. Anyway. That is that. So let's go back into here, go into Waterfall Spawner. Let's try cranking down the... that's fine, I don't want to... let's see, 3. I was going to do it less than that, but yeah. Yeah, sure, let's do that. Oh, whoops. That's not gonna work because I have to fix it down here too. It's actually, let's increase the randomness to 2. Just gonna be testing to see what, this is just trying to see what would be a good looking effect. Ideally, I'd expose those variables and actually be able to tweak in the editor, but we're not going to do that just yet. Although the hot reload issue might be because, well, I mean, the first one wouldn't be because we didn't create the class then, it still crashed. But afterwards it might be because of the, this line as well. This line. This line is what I'm trying to highlight. There we are. View current lobby, cross streams, what was AI? Come on. Oh. Interesting. This was pretty good. probably want to decrease the expand size, so. I think I need to actually yeah. Here. Which is funny because this in C# doing T.F really messes with you because unlike C++, when you type an integer, it's still an object. So when you do a 2 dot and you don't have a number after it, C# says, oh, you want to access a variable on a just plain old integer or a method or whatever. So this factor of 2 is for the factor of 2 I dropped this down. Okay, let's try this again. So if this works out fine, we're going to be moving the copying spawner off to the other places on the map. So yeah, this looks fine. We're getting kind of blocked here, but meh. Say it still looks cool. You know what? Let's try something. Anyway. Let's try 10,000. Double the boost. It might make them kind of fall off like that, but I mean that might be the effect we're looking for anyway. Hey Kate, welcome to the chat. So the game we're working on right now is like chess, except it's on design levels. So this here, actually, you know what? Let's pop out to a new editor window. So in the cross-stream map, which is a 64 by 64 map, the king and queen are here. How it works, everything goes by king range. So king has a range of 8. Ah, cool, thanks. And the knights are over here. You can't select knights because they're out of range, but you can slowly move the king up. There's also cross spawn over here of the silver team, and there's a fourth spawn, or third spawn, I should say, up over here. Although I disabled them for this map, so there should be rook, pawn, 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 knight, 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 and king and queen up here. But in this round, they've been disabled. Because the more competitive mode would probably be 1 versus 1, where everything is symmetric diagonally. So 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock, or 6 o'clock and 3 o'clock would be the same. So let's move the king over. We're gonna slowly work towards knight. And I move one more. I'll have one knight in range, but not the other. So I can grab this one here, but I can't grab this one. Thanks. Hoping eventually to make it VR compatible, so it would be like you're, you know, hovering over an actual, like playing a board game, and you'd be able to pick up the units and move them with your, you know, wands of some sort. Or using a controller or whatever, right? There's some gimmick maps too, like, this guy here. Let's actually play a game, why not? Let's do free-for-all versus AI, so... The catch with this level, I don't have any bottom for it yet, so we're still doing decorations. The catch with this one is that every 10 turns, one ring in the level disappears, and anything on it gets destroyed, so you want to really control the center and keep people out, and eventually you'll just win, unless they kick you out. Which is very easy right now, because the AI doesn't know what to do. It's very easy to win against an AI that's like, oh, hanging around the edge, why not? Kaboom, right? And that's 10 full rounds, by the way. Everyone has a king, so they can all move in any direction and capture in any direction. So next move, I'm going to want to move my king here. So if I move my king here, then this spot and this spot and this spot can't be moved into. Oh, thanks. Because if they move there, then that'd be in room for me to capture. I mean, if blue and silver want to team up, one can move there to, you know, force me a trade, but if they're not going to team up, then they can't do that. There we are. So now in this formation, I have pretty much all of the center locked down. And I should also mention there's no counter, so you have to memorize how many turns it is. And hope you're not on that one. I might say at the beginning of the level, the turn is set to 10. So that's going to screw me if it goes up there, but I don't think it will. No. There we are. And now we have a slightly smaller grid. And here we go. Yeah, it was the standard Unreal Engine default explosion. Material and, yeah. I may want to actually do something to make it less startling, but, you know. Ooh, this one's getting in the way, so what I could do is, yeah, I can move back here. There we are. I'm going for the kind of voxel metal aesthetic. Oh, you almost finished a computer science degree? What'd you get a degree in, AK? Thanks. I stream Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern to 11 p.m. Eastern, give or take. Like today I was like 15 minutes late, but you know. I don't have Yandere Dev's schedule. Where it's like he's 1 minute late and feels bad. There we are. So the idea behind... Oh, it's trying to push it on me. The idea behind this is that I'm trying to make it so... Oh, they gave me some room, that's good. I'm trying to make it so that way all work is done on stream. Oh, for Death Stays Interpreter, nice. Awesome. So yeah, the idea is I want to have every work done on stream until the proof of concept demo, which will probably be an itch.io thing. Just released for free unless a publisher comes up to me for some reason. I gotta push this guy out at some point. He'll probably get it, move on its own though. If not, I can trade with Pink, but still. Just as long as all these guys die first. Green's trying to get in there too. Yeah, I'll go there because I can only move there or back now. Oh, there it goes. And after that, I take it off stream and I start developing it. Yep. Well, one thing I do have that's kind of fortunate is I work for a computer website, so when I actually do release the itch.io, I can just post it there. And I win! Just gonna show one more thing before as well. One of the ideas behind this is I want the setup to be as open as possible. Like, if you want to have, let's say you have 3 friends, and you have an 8-spawn map. If you want to, you can assign spawn 1, 2, and 3 to one friend on team 1, 5, 6, 7 to the second friend on the second team, and then spawn 4 to the third friend on team 1, and spawn 8 to that same friend on team 2, so you have one guy griefing both teams if you wanted to. Like, I want to give it that sort of, you know, it's not going to be balanced, it's not going to be a preset. If you want to set the round that way, and that person griefs you and gives one of the two or both of the two a headache, you set up that round, right? So, but I'm not going to get in the way of that, so that was kind of the concept of it. So let's give Alice, because A, B, C, D hat. And as such, in this case, it's the same level you see the setup happens, but when the countdown hits 0, a lot of them are going to despawn, and it's going to be a slightly different setup now. So it's, now I have control of 4 pieces, and the AI has control of 4 pieces, and so forth. I'm not going to play it through, though, because you've already seen it there. Giving each other grief, yeah. It's all in good fun if you want to set it up that way, right? And that's what I'm trying to go for. Okay, so now we're going to go into... Oh, I can't open previous levels because I just updated the engine. Let's actually move this over here now. So, open level, battle, cross streams, and yes, that's a Ghostbuster pun. So let's grab one of these particle spawners, and let's move it. We'll actually duplicate it. how's it over here? So actually, the aesthetic I'm going for is kind of somewhere between, somewhere between the Mirror's Edge time trial levels for the outside, and kind of like this sort of a plate, kind of floating in a virtual space around it, where this is kind of the center, except that the cubes would be have kind of a metal trim around them, which would look kind of more like, let's say, this. So that's kind of the three sort of art styles I'm trying to blend together for this. Really, I didn't really think too much about art style. I didn't really have much of an art style planned, but you need to choose one somewhere, right? So here we are, and since the forward vector is now pointing into the mesh, that's going to be the direction that the particle flies. I don't want it pointing in the mesh. I want to point the other direction. So let's change it from -90 to +90. Now, when the physics effect will happen, it'll pop out this way. So now I can duplicate. Duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. Ah, cool, thanks. Honestly, I'm not too stuck on really any art style in general. Honestly, this is a game jam game that kind of went awry. If I had my choice, it'd be more of like a kind of a shooter narrative-based game if I had the money for it, of course, but that's not gonna happen on your first game unless something happens. So I thought, hey, what would happen if chess was on design levels? And there was a game jam coming up. That was back in 2014. And I'm like, well, let's do everything on stream. Let's see how that works. Turns out it wasn't as... people weren't as interested in watching people develop games as I thought they were. Some people are. But, yeah. Good, and then drop this down there. Yeah, exactly, gotta start somewhere, right? I mean, a lot of people are like, I'm gonna make an MMO for my first game. It's like, no, you're not. That's not gonna work. But, yeah. I mean, it's not my first thing I did as well. I was, doing like UT mods and stuff like that, but it's 180. Yep. Yeah, I don't see how this would be anywhere for mobile VR, though. It would have to be probably PC VR for the performance levels we're targeting, without really cutting down the effects. Like none of these particle spawners. There. I selected something I didn't know what I did, so... rather than have something go wrong, just decided to reselect it, undo. Now let's go and grab over here, and let's see where it ended up. Oh, it's still there. And now it's 0. So now the oops. So now the spawner arrow is pointing out to the block. Oh, okay. Just about ready to place these last amount of spawners. Having a bit of a problem, obviously, looking down the level because there's like 4,000 tiles, but in game, the camera constrains you so you can see that. We're getting draw call limited, but here it should be fine. Okay, so we're gonna do a save. Now we've added them all. So we're gonna have, oops, looks like around 325 particle effects. And what I could do as well is check to see if there's any camera nearby. If the camera is some distance away, I'll prevent the particle effect from turning on, which will cut down the amount of performance hit by like a factor of 3, maybe half. It'd be 4 if all these were the same. It was on if it was up there, but so you don't simulate physics on things you can't see, right? Right. So let's go and test it in a game. Oops, that's right. Okay, there we are. Stats unit to see our frame time, and stat FPS to see our frame rate. Looks like it's taking a bit of a hit. However, this is also in the engine. Yeah, exactly, right? So if you can't ever see the cube fall, why are you calculating exactly how it's falling if you can never see it, right? Same with this here. I mean, we're still keeping well above 60 FPS, but still. Right, so there's that. Now let's let's just package another game version of it. I believe everything's already built, so I don't have to deal with that again. So we'll do a package for Windows 64 bits. And then once again, do a new folder. Check it for 162. I'm gonna start deleting some of the old ones, of course. All that really matters because hard drive space is cheap these days. debug resources or the debug settings take quite a bit of performance, as well as the editor being on. Although when the editor is minimized, it actually drops down performance quite a bit. Epic did a good job about that. Why does a PC perspective host my Twitch channel? I don't know. They're certainly not obliged to. I mean, it's one of my side projects, right? And it probably won't matter that much anyway soon, because we're getting pretty close to a finished demo. And then from there we can see what happens, right? Cooking shouldn't take that long because we just did it like a half hour ago. There shouldn't be really any new changes. Then from there, which we'll probably start with tomorrow, we'll just be adding new meshes, like we're going to add a bridge in here, we're going to add a stable. Probably we're gonna start on next time, little voxel style. Was I watching the stream yesterday? Was he having a hard time with Neo? I don't. His stream starts very late, so I don't watch all of it. But yeah, I watched a little bit. And yeah, he was playing Neo. Fighting a boss of some sort. Like the same boss for the majority of the stream that I saw, so probably wasn't having that happy of a time fighting them. Okay, so now I gotta move my registered map folder, or copy my registered map folder into a new directory so I can, you know, it won't crash, because it'll be like, hey, load this text file, it doesn't exist. Here we are. So now I'm gonna move my camera out of the way so you can see stat unit, stat FPS, cross streams, 1 versus AI. We're still up to almost 120 FPS. That's not too bad. And that's without having the spawners be shut down out of view anyway. So we're keeping pretty much above 100 FPS even with all those waterfall effects. Even the ones that are off screen. This one's starting to dip a little bit. Good, okay. Yep. Admittedly, I'm kind of playing a game right now because the option is either playing the game, unless I can think of something I can do. Actually, you know what? Let's do that right now. So what do we do here? Okay, so I'm going to want to do is I'm going to get an actor iterator for all pawns. Let's probably just get player controller. Yeah, okay, so so first off, we're doing if get world fails, we're just not gonna crash, even though it doesn't matter, because if get world doesn't exist, this should never be called because it's kind of required for it, but still, good to always check your pointers. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the player controller, then get the pawn from the player controller to see where the camera is, and each frame I'm going to check to see the distance from the actor's location and the pawn, and if it's over however far, let's say, well, the entire level is so it's 64 times 300. The entire level is 192 meters, so if we say if they're more than 40 meters away, so 4,000 centimeters away, then we're going to just skip our tick. We're just not going to actually calculate it. So yeah, that's about right. And we'll see if that works. Okay, so first we need to here. What's the actor iterator? I've been working on so many engines these days. For T actor iterator, a pawn. That's not right. Aw. Okay, so it's T actor get world. So the thing with programming is, like, I used to work at an electronics store, and a lot of people used to come into the store and say, you know, oh, I'm too old to learn how to use computers, I'm too whatever to here. And I tell them, they drove here in a car, and learning how to use a car is pretty complex, including compared to a computer, right? And the consequences for failing to drive a car correctly are much more severe than crashing a computer, right? So the best, like, if you want to use, so the question is whether for the customers it was worthwhile to take the time to learn a computer, like it was worthwhile for them to take the time to learn to use a car. It may not be, and if that's fine, if that's the case, that's fine, right? But if they have, you know, something they want to do and they are just afraid to use the tools to get there, then the better way of thinking about it is to use that excuse of, like, I want to make a chess-style game or whatever. As long as it's small and manageable enough that it's past your barrier of wanting to give up, use that as your excuse to learn, right? And then you just works, right? Exactly, yeah. So, like, if it's something you really want to do, the engines are free. Your time is not, so if you want to spend your time doing something else better, then go ahead. But if you want to make a game, a specific game, you want to start small, typically, like, you know, have a dot stay between two lines, or tic-tac-toe, or something like that. Minesweeper, and keep building up from there. And once you know, have it, then you do the next thing, and when you start getting, you know, able to make these little toy projects, start joining up with some game jams. Unreal Engine has one every 3 months, and they have prizes for the top certain winners. And but even still, you didn't have to win. It's just fun, and then sometimes people will play it and stream themselves playing your game on Twitch, and that's always fun to watch. Someone enjoy your game, or depending on the type of game you make, not enjoy your game. Like the was the I Am Bread or whatever. It's like the kind of co-op style game where it's designed to make the streamer enrage. Dragon Maid Tic Tac Toe. Yeah, may want to stick away from trademark infringement, but yeah, and then from there you can keep building up and up and up, and then you'll eventually, maybe one of the ideas will stick, and then you may have, a project in your hands. If not, so like I said, I used to be a high school physics teacher, and when you make a curriculum, what you're doing is, there's a curriculum guideline you're given, but you, and you probably know this as well for, Brand's hell yeah. And you probably know this because you said you wanted to, interpreter actually. Okay. I couldn't remember if you said you wanted to be an interpreter or you wanted to teach, those with hearing impaired. Anyway, so, when you create a curriculum, you are setting goals, you are motivating, in our case with grades, and then you are giving assignments for hands-on, and then you are giving feedback. When you are making a game, you are doing the exact same thing. Your goal is whatever your next milestone is. Your assignment is to make that milestone happen. And as errors occur, you have to overcome them either by asking other people, looking online, looking through documentation, and the more comfortable you get, the more you'll be able to kind of handle these further situations. Your motivation is not grades, your motivation is your intrinsic value in the project, if you actually really care about a specific project. And then the feedback is whether it crashes or not. Right? So, you get the idea behind that. So, so you're basically making your own curriculum and teaching yourself to learn. The difference is that the curriculum you create is defined by whatever your project needs at that point in time versus some, structured set of things you need to learn. It's possible to be self-taught the entire way by doing that. That's actually where a lot of people come from. You don't see as many people come off of academia for this as you'd expect. Crashing is great, very good feedback. Especially since the compiler will probably tell you. Actually, the runtime. Anyway. Yeah. Get the idea. The engine. But yeah, I forgot what I was saying, but yeah, that's kind of the idea behind it. So it's your, that's what it was. So it's hard to tell how much you know as you move along, but at the same token too, that's one of the reasons why when you apply to like game studios and stuff like that, a lot of times they don't actually want to know what education they have. They want to know what your portfolio is, because that tells them a lot more about what you can do because it's stuff you've already done, right? So if you want to do it, start. The tools are free. Go, right? Don't expect to do much more than like, cube platformer or something like that, or tic-tac-toe or whatever. But once you do that, hey, you did it. Move on. Next thing, and before you know it, you have a hobby. If you care. If not, you can spend your life doing everything. It's not a big deal, right? It all depends on what you want to do, right? I personally am a bit biased towards making video games because I've been doing this stream for like 2 years now and I'm making mods and stuff, but get the idea, right? Talking about being self-taught, they want you to know what you can do so they can't teach you what you obviously missing. Yeah, yeah, that's Yeah, so they can teach you what you're obviously missing. That's a part of it. So after they, hire you, then they'll be able to, teach you certain ways, or, have you be mentored by someone or whatever. Or just be like, in the water, hope you swim, right? That's probably the more likely way of it happening, but, and then you'll work through those problems. But they'll know what your rough competency level would be based on what you've already done. You get the idea, right? Alright, so let's keep going on this. I have another about 15 minutes left in the stream. So T, actor, writer, get world, and actor, writer. So what I'm doing right now is when you do T, actor, writer, in this case tile, but it's whatever class you want, actor, writer, and get world in the parameters, what you're doing is you are getting a list of objects that you can then loop over. So it's basically asking the world, hey world, like level, like actual game level, how many tiles in that case do you have in you? Give me a link to every one of them. And then you just go through them one at a time. In this case, I, get the link by doing a step, and then I add it to the list of tiles in this here. For here, what I want to do is I want to do actor, iterator, get world, actor, iter, actor, actor, iter, plus, is that right? Plus and plus doesn't really matter, but still. This used to matter apparently in like older versions of C. They would actually be slightly slower to do a variable plus and plus variable. Yeah. But what I want to do in this case is I want to tell a level, hey, on this begin of this, get me all of the it's player controller actually. I can do pawn. I don't even want to do it anyway. I want to get player controller 0. Ah, right. Okay. A player controller. Player controller equals get player. Or sorry. Gameplay statics, get player controller, here we are, get world, and 0. So the reason why I want to do it like this is because there's only ever going to be one person playing. I'm not going to allow split screen, basically. So I want to get the first player registered with this one computer, which will be on the server. If there's a player connected to the server, it'll be the server. If there is, if it's not the server, if it's the like a client machine connecting to it for multiplayer, then I'm getting the player that is in the that is actually controlling it. And from here I'm going to get the pawn that they control and use that to find out where they are in the levels, because that will tell me where the camera is, because the camera is attached to the pawn by a boom arm. Kind of like in the Yandere Simulator, except that it's not walking around, it's locked to tiles. And then from here, if player controller, to make sure, because if this comes up to nothing, then actually want to add a variable to here to actually store it. So view property, a pawn, player pawn. So if player controller, so if there is a player, so if you're on a dedicated server, you don't want this to call this, get nothing because there's no player connected. and then try to access the player that doesn't exist, because then it'll crash the game. So if there is a player that's connected, player pawn, which is the variable I created right here, equals player controller get pawn. Okay, here, so now that I have that, I can then go into tick and if player pawn, because again we want to make sure that it exists. And so how C++ is going to work is going to say if player pawn, if this is true, and the and sign is next, then if this is false and the and sign is next, it's going to immediately just drop and just stop doing it. It's going to say no, it's not. That's not true. Actually, let me rethink of how I want to do this. Okay. There we are. Oh, cool, thanks. Yeah, so, if the player pawn doesn't exist, I want to return, because I don't want to, tick the actors if there is no player. So now we have, we know the player pawn exists, so we want to do, if, player pawn, actually, fmath distance. You know what? Never mind. Let's do the math directly. If get actor location minus player pawn get actor location actually let's do this here. So f vector displacement equals get actor location minus player pawn get actor location. So what we're doing right here is we're seeing if the player is some distance away from, or we're finding the distance between this particle spawner and the character. And then we're going to do here, so if f vector magnitude, sorry. Oh, that's what I want to do. Okay. And player pawn, get actor location. Yeah, I didn't need to do this after all because I can just get the distance directly from here. Is greater than 4,000, which is 4,000 centimeters or a meter. We're going to do a return. So if the distance between, let's make sure I got, so if the distance between this actor, so this object in the level, which is the cube spawner, and what the player is greater than 4,000. We're going to return because we want to, we don't care if we're too far away. We're going to just prevent the player from spawning. As a matter of fact, we actually want to probably just set physics. do set physics is false. Do set hidden game true. So this should actually give us a little bit more performance. So we were looking last time around 100 frames per second. So we will now see what... actually, I'm not sure if we'll have time to package. It can be a bit long. Might as well. This is C++. Unreal Engine 4 is C++ and... oh, actually, you can't even see there. Unreal Engine 4 is C++ and Blueprints. So let's do another package. Actually, before we do that, let's actually see if it runs. Yep, doing an Unreal Engine 4. So before we check for performance, let's see if it actually works at all, right? So we're here. We're going to move away over here. Actually, how far is 40 meters in this game? So every tile is 3 meters. So 40. So 4,000 divided by 300. So 13 tiles away. That actually might be too small. Let's see. Yeah, it might be a bit too small. Probably want to increase this size a little bit. Distance, I mean. Probably do 60 meters away. Because the distance of the map is 192. So as long as I'm above or below 90, let's say, which would be 180, then I'll only have one of the 3 groups active at any given point in time. And it looks like if I just disable the tick and re-enable it, the effect is close enough. It does go kind of clumpy when I come back, but whatever. Okay, so let's increase the range a little bit to 60. And then we're going to package it out with the shipping, not shipping, with the development setting, and then see what our performance will be like. What genre game am I making? Turn-based strategy. It's like chess, but on design levels. I'll show you. So here, let's look at the chessboard map. So let's play a game of chess. I'm gonna get a quick kill. Okay, so I'm gonna move my queen here, but I can actually move my pawn forward, back, left, or right. I can eat on any diagonal. That does make a big difference. Because you can't just, get behind the pawn line and start killing stuff, because the pawn's going to eat backwards. You know what? Do I want to give up the quick kill? Because if I go to quick kill here, so it's going to move here, it's going to move the knight. I'm going to kill the pawn, and the king can only respond. You know what? Let's draw it out a little bit. That won't work. No, let's go here. Why not? Yeah. I can kill my thing there, but now I can move here, and now it's locked in. So I can kill that. Okay, thanks for letting me kill 2 pawns now. And now it can eat me backwards. Oh, it actually forked me. I can, the pawn can eat my bishop or my rook. I'm gonna move a bishop, by the way, so you can see the pawn eat backwards, but, yeah. Oh, thanks. I was trying to think of some virtual space for it. So, ideally, what I'd end up having for the full game is, in the menu, it would actually be a 3D menu where you'd see the levels kind of float in, and then when you select the level, it would float in from the ceiling and start playing, quickly load the level, and you'd actually start playing. Kind of like this is like a holodeck sort of thing, and the level's kind of floating in from the sky. That kind of idea. So this is the, yeah, I got a holodeck feel kind of now, yeah. So that was the chessboard level. The idea, though, is that some levels may be much bigger than that, or even smaller. And maybe even different modes. Like one mode I want to have is a siege mode, where if you hold tiles, it would start, you know, throw like a catapult with throwing rocks or something like that, which would make like walls crumble. And if the wall crumbles, the tile would open, and now you have a new route. Similar to the backwards of King's Cross, or King's Court, I think it was. I can't remember my own level names. Where the map would slowly get smaller because the tiles would disable. In this case, the tile would enable because there'd be bridges and walkways that wouldn't exist before that happened. So this is a 64 by 64 map. Actually, you know what? Let's try that again. Let's do cross streams with all 3 spawns. AI. So this is what we're working on right now. You can see the waterfall. When you get close, and when you get away, it's not going to work. So the idea behind this map is there's 3 spawns. You don't have to play with all 3. You can play with, if you want competitive, it's probably best to be 6 o'clock versus 3 o'clock. Because everything is diagonally symmetric. Oh, thanks. Yeah, no, like start somewhere. Just start. So it's these 2 spawns are across from one another, and around the level there's a lot of pieces that they can pick up to increase their army. There's 2 rooks, 2 pawns, and some bishops. And the idea is that they have to kind of get through the level to get the other pieces. But the amount of turns they're wasting to get those pieces, first off, they're going to get a bigger army, it's going to be slower to move, and also they're wasting turns to get there. You can get positional advantage on them. Like, let's say they come in to get the bishops, okay, they get their bishops and kill your bishops, but now they can't get back out again, right? That could be one of the dynamics. I mean, bishops are easy to, you know, come out of this diagonal, but you get the idea. And then there's a 3rd spawn up here, where it's blue team, blue because that's the team color at the moment, is able to just bunker down if they want to. They can take their 4 pawns, 2 rooks, and 4 knights, and just bunker down and keep the front door closed, and there's no other way in. There's no other way into this fortress at all. But if they bunker down, then the other players can just go around the map collecting every unit that they have access to and just brute force their way in, and they'd probably have enough units to do it. That's kind of the balance act of this for that setup. Alternatively, and I actually want to give the blue team, this blue spawn, a second king so they'd be able to make a detachment. They could go around the map and start picking off units before the fight happens to make the fight eventually smaller. But if they do that, then they're making a detachment that's not in their enclosed area, right? So they're camping with slightly less. So if they move a detachment out, then the air players are like, no, I'm just gonna kill you with this, and they just go in and just rush through. Then they're stuck, right? So there is that kind of dynamic to it. So that's kind of the idea. But for competitive, I think the main competitive mode would be cross spawns. So 6 o'clock versus 3 o'clock, diagonally symmetric. And it's looking like the cube thing works. So now we're going to make another build. Here, just so I can see what it would be like at certain performance level. And from there we'll see how much our little optimization we just did for performance. So what we did was we wanted to find where the player is in the level, and if they're over a certain distance away from the waterfall would just stop. Yeah, and then restart when they get back in range. Only fear is with the size of maps, it could be a really slow game that might take people's attention away. Yeah, so the we did a bunch of playtesting. We did a bit of playtesting a little while ago when we found that the way this map was set up, with all 3 people spawning, the games lasted around 1.5 to 2 hours, which is pretty long. The smaller levels are like 10, 15, 20 minutes, but the larger one was big. So we ended up finding that there was a trade-off between map size and number of units you want in your army. Because the more units you have, the longer it takes, because you can only move 1 move per turn, right? So what you'll notice is that for cross streams, it's a 64 by 64 map. It's a big map, but when you start, you get a king, a queen, 2 knights, and then you have to pick up the rest around the map if you want to, and you're probably not going to get all of them. It seems like what people do is we go for the bishops and then we go into our attack. We don't actually go for the rooks unless on the initial attack. A lot of times when the rooks and pawns come into play, it's after the bishop or the queen, one or both the bishops or the queen, get played, and we have that initial confrontation, and then we say, okay, we can't kill each other with just a king or whatever. Let's try to make it to the rook, or make it to the opponent's rook and kill their rook, and have that be the way the game plays. And then when the third player comes in with the that spawn, they may come out and try to attack the 2 if they are free for all. So yeah, there is some level of it can make fairly large games, fairly long games. I mean. And here we are. Not see our performance. Let's do 1 versus AI. And we're going to do stat unit and then stat FPS. And immediately our frame rate looks a bit higher. We were hovering around 90 to 100. Now we're up to about 110, 120, 130. So over here should be the harshest one, because we have 2 spawners in range, and we're up to around 120 20 frames per second. Then we go over here. Yeah. So that's a bit of a performance boost for us. And that takes us up a little bit past 11 p.m. I stream usually from, I say 9 to 11. It ends up being like 9:15, 9:30 to 11. Or in this case, 11:15. But yeah, so we did the waterfall spawners. Probably what we have to do next is like the bridge, the wall here. Cathedral will be later. The stable here, and we're gonna kind of do it in the voxel art style, which I'm hoping to have it kind of look somewhat like this, except with a bit of kind of metal trim, as you can see from the voxels we had earlier, and all of that kind of in this sort of you know, virtual space that doesn't exactly make any real sense, but looks kind of like a holodecky sort of thing. And that's that. So that is what we've been doing today. Yeah, so that was what I want to accomplish. Next time we're probably going to go back to Blender and start making voxel-ish decorations, kind of like we saw here, although with our little metal trim art style. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.